This is a long question, Sam. You've had a very positive approach. And I think Jalen Catalon said Saturday that Barry Odom was like, you think that you're the best defense out there, and you take that approach every game. I'm wondering the positives of that. Y'all don't even bring up what's happened here in the past. Is that kind of how you're approaching things?
Never mentioned it. It doesn't have anything to do with us. This whole different new team, new staff, a lot of new players. We're trying to set our own goals and what we get done. So we just never have mentioned it.
Everybody.
Coach, has there been a lot of talk about, not dwelling on the play that just happened and making sure these guys move on to the next play, especially with the defense, because Mississippi State throws so much, they're bound to pick up some plays. Yeah,
we've talked about that, Trey, even, way before this week. It's just something that one negative can't turn out to be two. We have to flush it, let it go. And, people, this SEC, people's going to make plays on you. And on offense, defense, special teams, we got our big deal we're talking about, Trey, is adjustments. Trust the coaches. We're going to try to adjust to what we see. Be truthful with us when you come off. Hey, if you got beat, if you got physically whipped, let us know. It's not going to be a yell fest. But we're not trying to chase ghosts. We're not trying to, I thought I saw this, thought I saw that. And we've talked more about, hey, as fast as we can get this thing adjusted, the better off we can be and the better off we're stopping. Let's don't wait till the end of the game or halftime to make an adjustment.
Scotty.
Hey, Sam, is there an update on Dorian? Is he, making progress toward maybe being able to be a factor Saturday?
Well, I don't know, buddy. We're hoping, but as of right now, we'll just have to kind of wait and see.
Nate?
Sam, as far as a running game, just what has to be done to get it established and to get Boyd in the rhythm of the game?
Yeah, and Nate, that's a great question. We need to. That's the big thing. We can't be one-dimensional, and we need to get him rolling. We have worked very, very hard on it. We did obviously in our preseason camp, but we have really emphasized that part of it. We've got to get him going, and it's all about, to me, it's communication, making sure we don't have any breakdowns, things of that nature. I think we just have to be more consistent and more aware of movement than what possibly we were last Saturday.
Sam, I think looking at their Mississippi State's 7 sacks last week, they might have had 7 or even 8 guys, because I think a couple guys had half a sack. So when you have that many guys getting involved in sacks, how challenging does that make, your blocking scheme?
Well, it just shows that, they have a lot of team speed, a very good schematic, defense. They do a lot of movement. They do a lot of line games. And their guys are quick and fast, So it does cause a problem because there's just not one of them. One of them you can run a tight end over the top of him. You can chip him. You can double him. You can do all that. But when there's so many guys that can get to the quarterback, you just have to play fair ball at that point. And certainly we've been working on all those type stunts and blitzes this week.
Coach.
Yeah, Coach, how has Mateo Soli looked at practice this week? And, with Gerald's status kind of up in the air, how much does it help having him back this week?
Well, a lot. We needed him back, regardless of Dorian's status, but we needed him back, and he's looked good. Obviously he was out for a few days, a couple of weeks, 10 days. And so we were concerned about his conditioning, but not so much anymore. I think he'll be fine.
Tyler.
Yeah, Coach, just what's been going on this week in practice as far as special teams goes? Have there been changes, just working it more, just to address the issues from last week?
there have been some personnel changes on it. Special teams, a lot about desire, want to, personal one-on-one battles that you have. And we certainly emphasize the heck out of it. We still have another day today to do it again. But there have been some personnel issues where we thought we had a little bit of a mismatch going on Saturday. And hopefully they'll be better. I expect them to be.
Aye.
Yeah, Coach, with Kendall's offense not performing that great in the first game against Georgia, how locked in has he been this week with his guys preparing for Mississippi State?
No more than what he was before. I mean, he's a good football coach and has been that way ever since I hired him. And at some point, players got to go out there and function as well. Again, I think we played one of the best defenses in the country. So hopefully our performance on offense will get better, and I believe it will.
Otis.
Yeah, Coach, on the 2021 recruiting class, I know you've got a few scholarships left. What are some of the priorities left on that? And also, are you hoping to save some scholarships for grad transfers?
Well, I think you're going to save some scholarships for grad transfers as well as the one transfer rule, if that passes. So I think you're going to need to have a couple in your pocket. We certainly are looking for defensive linemen. We would have a spot, obviously, for a safety. But most of our concerns right now are in recruiting or on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, we could take another offensive lineman.
Nikki.
Coach, talk a little bit about your two running backs and what you saw from them last weekend and what you want each of them to bring against Mississippi State.
Nikki, there wasn't a whole lot, there wasn't a whole lot of running room in there. Again, Rakeem, he caught the ball well. There wasn't a whole lot of space. Once there, he blocked very well. Obviously, we've got to find ways to get him yards. I thought Traylon came in. He ran hard. He ran well. Obviously, at some point in the game, they had substituted some on their D-line as well, and we had a little bit more success running the ball. But the bottom line is we've got to stay the course, keep running hard, and good things will happen for us.
Oh.
Hey, Coach, first time leaving Fayetteville in a long time. What are some of the things you guys are going to try to do to keep such a large group, safe on the road?
There's so many things, like seating charts. We're going to stay away from each other in the rooms because each man's going to have his own room. Seating charts on the buses, seating charts on when we go to the movies, to seating charts when we get on the plane. Obviously, we hope that we don't have any positives when we get to that point, but you can't test 5 minutes before you get on a plane. So, obviously there's a test today, and then we certainly have to, whatever the results are, we get back tomorrow, but we certainly have to stay in our bubble on tonight. But there's so many things going into it, how you seat at your meal, how you get your food at the meal. A lot of those things we had last week, but the travel part of it with the plane and buses and things of that nature, we're ready for it. But certainly we had to spend quite a bit of time getting the seating down for that.
Tom.
Hey, Sam, how did the DBs look? McClellan and Bush, they come back looking good. And also, I'm confused on what the noise level is that the home team can pipe in. Do you have a good feel and grasp for that and the Cowbell situation for this game?
Well, the guys have looked good. The two DBs, they've done a good job. I think it's 75 decibels, whatever that is the away team. So it'll be just like what ours is. I don't know exactly about the Cowbells where they come in. I think the rule says they can't use them, but and then on big plays after a big play, then it can go up to 90 decibels, but it can't have anything to do with the opponent not being able to hear and things of that nature.
Hey, Betty.
First, Coach, what constitutes a big play? That sounds like it could be subjective, but also just on Tom's question with Jarquez and Devin, and you never know what happens, I guess, on this last round of testing, but how big is it given the opponent could throw 50, 60 times or more to get Jarquez and Devin and Micah Smith, Miles Mason, Malik Chavis, all those guys back in the secondary?
Well, big. I mean, we need as many as we can take. I mean, we're going to take 14 or 15 guys that are from nickel to safety to corner to the game. I mean, we're going to roll in there 3 deep, and we need to. And so that's a big deal getting those guys back. We got a majority of our secondary back. Not a majority, but a few secondary guys back last week on Tuesday, and certainly we're planning on being able to take everybody this week. Excuse me.
Hey.
Sam, with the offensive line, I mean, do you make any changes? Or you just figure you're up against the best and keep your continuity going by starting who you started last week?
Well, as of right now, we are. I think we're comfortable with 7 or 8 guys starting wise. I think be very similar to what we saw last week. We are trying to get some continuity. The problem was obviously injuries and, of course, the virus and things of that nature. It was very hard at times to get that. But we've been good this week, and so I think we'll be able to play the guys that's played, side by side and who started last week.
Sorry, the thing came on. I couldn't unmute for a second. Hey, Simeon Blair just said earlier this week that when you put him on scholarship, you call him into the office. I was wondering, did you just tell him straight out, hey, you're on scholarship? Did you have a little fun with it? Like maybe he was wondering, what did I do to get called in the coach's office? And kind of what's that moment like for a coach when you get to reward a guy who you feel is deserving with a scholarship?
Well, it's an incredible feeling. I'm not a, hey, if I donate some money to the food bank, if I do, I'm not a, hey, look at me guy. And therefore, we didn't video it and all that kind of stuff. The thing about that is if I video and there's 120 guys in that room, and if I make a big deal out of one guy getting a scholarship, well, there's 85. So there's, 34 more guys that aren't getting a scholarship in there that would like to have one. So I like to do it personally, one-on-one. And I called him in and told him that he had earned his scholarship. And he was very, very grateful, very thankful. It's a really neat moment. The problem is I want to make sure that his goal wasn't to earn a scholarship, that it was certainly higher than earning the scholarship. But the scholarship certainly was on the, I'm going here, 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 here. A lot of times you reward a scholarship, and that's as good as a guy gets. That didn't happen with Blair, and I was, he's already exceeded the day that I was able to reward him the scholarship. So I'm very happy to do that because he earned it and we had one available.
Coach.
Yeah, Coach, I know it's important every week, but you've mentioned a couple of times this week the importance of getting the pressure on the quarterback. Why is it so important this week?
Well, because if we let him just sit back there, he's going to pick us apart. We have to move him. He can't just stand there, and we have to move him. If we don't sack him, he has to move. And so we had to pressure him, and I'm excited to see what our scheme does.
Let me know if you've got more questions in the chat. Trey Biddy.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned taking 14 or 15 defensive backs. I'm curious, against a team that maybe throw more like 35, 40 times a game, maybe a more normal amount, what's the normal amount you would travel against those teams? And I guess you can only travel 70. So where do you skim down from at other positions?
You take it, from your linebacker core. If you add in the back end, you take a few less. At linebacker, you'd put a little bit faster guy on the field possibly. But, I think last week we took 13. It might have been 14, but we had 80 last week too, so we took a few guys that maybe we rewarded a few guys that had practiced well in that last 10, but usually the number's somewhere around 13.
Tom.
Yeah, Coach, is Ty Clary getting closer? How's he doing?
Well, he had missed quite a bit of practice this year, and he's back now. He was back last week, late in the week, and so he's doing a good job. I expect him to play this week. I really have no doubt that he'll play this week.
Last one, Bob.
Sam, I think we asked you about Zach Williams earlier in the week, but if it turns out he has to play more, if Dorian's out, how do you feel about that? And then for travel, do you have to take more buses than usual to socially distance everybody in their seats?
Yeah, you have to add buses. I'm not positive how many. I don't know if we have 7 or something like that. And then who are you talking about with Dorian?
Zach Williams.
Zach played well, I thought, the other day. No matter what happens with Dorian, he has earned more playing time. So we're expecting him to go out there and play well for us.
All right, that's going to wrap us up. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Nate, I'm thinking about you and we're praying for you. You hear me?
I appreciate that, Sam. Thank you very much. Now I get tested next week and we'll find out more from there.